Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Commodity TV for you here in Vancouver, in Canada. And we are now at the offices of Bluestone Resources. And with me here is Darren Klinck, the CEO of the company, who wants to give us, of course, an update. Welcome, Darren.
Great to be here, Johan.
Yeah, great that we have the chance to talk to you here in your lovely offices. Thank you very much. First of all, Happy New Year.
Yes,
I hope you had a good start.
We did. We have. Very good.
Fantastic. Bluestone Resources. We were talking of, I think, something like 6 to 9 months ago, I would say.
Yeah, maybe.
And a lot of good things happened, honestly. Let's maybe we start with 2019. The drills were turning fantastically. Maybe you want to comment a bit on that. And I think also you raised the resource by, 18% or something,
yeah,
right?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, a key focus for us last year, obviously, when we put out the feasibility study in January, was we identified that there's a lot of opportunity for us to move some of the inferred resource into measured and indicated. Remember, the Cerro Blanco deposit in Guatemala is a high grade. It's 10 grams per ton. And what we'd identified is that the inferred resources, for the most part, were largely on veins that were already in the mine plan. But of course, couldn't get into the mine plan if they're in inferred. And so we had quite an intensive drill program last year. And I'm pleased to say that we were successful when we updated the resource in November. We added another about 18%, as you said, to measured and indicated. And so that measured and indicated resource now sits around 1.4 million ounces, around that 10 grams per ton again. And ultimately our objective here now is we've got that was just on the north zone. So there's two parts of the deposit, the north and the south. So we focused on the north, the early part really of last year, and then finished up with that resource in November. And now the drills are turning in the south zone, and so we've exceeded the expectations. We felt that we could probably add somewhere around the 150 to 200,000 ounces, and, and in fact it was over 200,000 ounces we added in measured and indicated. We've got the drills going now in the south zone, and I would expect that as we update that resource, probably later on this year, we'll then take that along with the north zone and then update the mine plan as we kind of head into this development phase.
Okay, super. Can you comment a little bit on, let's say, grades and widths? Was it like consistent, or even did you a little bit better?
Sure. So we actually made 5 new vein discoveries in the drilling last year, and
which is a lot, I would say.
Well, it wasn't the plan. I mean, again, this is infill drilling, right? So I mean, the team is actually going after veins that they have a very high level of confidence in terms of where they are. Largely on the back of all the geological work we've done over the last 2+ years on that deposit. And yet, even still, I mean, 5 new veins were discovered. And this is fairly indicative of these type of systems, these low sulfidation epithermal systems where you've got swarms of veins and you get some positive surprises. I think as far as the results go, they were consistent. As I said, I mean, the guys have really nailed down the geologic model. And so, where they're targeting to tighten up some of the drilling to give us that higher level of confidence into measured and indicated has gone to plan, right down to the point that, when the guys have got the drills going, they're expecting to hit the vein, this afternoon, and bang, they're hitting the vein in the afternoon. Wow. So it's given us a high level of confidence for certain.
Yeah, and of course a fantastic understanding of the whole mine system, right?
Well, I mean, ore body knowledge in these sorts of systems is so key, and so ultimately as we start to get into that development and start to do the underground mining, our definition drilling will be a key part of this. That's the case in any sort of vein deposit for certain. But this is an important part. I mean, as we've been able to, really kind of feel our way through, firm up the continuity and confidence in this mine, really in the geologic model over the last 2+ years, we've got a high level of confidence now heading into the development phase.
Super, perfect. Development phase. This is something that means you need to have project finance. So what's the status there?
Yeah, so we've been pretty clear with everyone. Sort of the second quarter of last year, around April, we kicked off a process, and I think I shared that with you and your viewers before. And we run kind of a parallel process, one with the traditional commercial banks, mainly European banks, in fact, along with some of the international financial institutions and export credit agencies, and then also the private equity type groups that have been financing, in fact, a lot of the mining projects over the last 5 to 7 years. We were really pleased with the kind of the support and the interest that came back, but in particular to see such a strong level of support from the commercial bank group. I mean, ultimately, to be able to put a project finance facility in on this project means that your cost of capital will be lower than what the private equity groups demand, and so that's really where the focus has been. And so we've gone through a lot of work, independent engineers, independent environmental and social experts, site visits, independent reports, and a variety of different scopes of work to kind of pull all that information together. And we actually just had meetings here this last couple of weeks with the group, and so it's progressing well. I think we're confident that as we move here into the second quarter, I think the next benchmark for us is to try and move towards a credit approval, with the banks. No doubt there'll be a number of things that we need to do, before you'd actually draw down on any sort of debt, which is fairly typical. And then of course the other component of the finance to really kick off the development project then will be equity or stream of some sort.
I mean, with that gold price, shouldn't be the big problem, because I mean your cost structure is outstanding, right?
We're fortunate that Mother Nature, put a high-grade deposit there. We're fortunate that obviously the previous owners had sunk more than $200 million in this project. We're fortunate that there's a mining permit there and a lot of a head start. So, in today's world, I think from discovery through to production, it's probably somewhere close to 15, maybe even more years. Well, we've kind of had hit the fast forward on the CD player for the first 13 years, and so I think from a perspective of being able to pull the package together, we're quite confident. We've at today's gold price, the margin on this deposit based on the feasibility is close to $1,000 an ounce. This project will generate more free cash flow than the market cap today, just in its first year of annual production. And so I think a lot of opportunity for us as we go forward. I'm really pleased with regards to the support we've had from this lending group, and of course our equity investors have been very, very supportive as well. And the stocks moved up with the gold price here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you have, I would say, the debt financing in place, I mean, the things can really move, right?
It's a huge catalyst, and I think this is one of the things that we've heard quite a bit over the last 4 to 5 months, is that for companies that can demonstrate that they can actually finance and put the project finance in place, you all of a sudden then differentiate yourself from a lot of the other peer group. There's a number of development projects that are out there, but getting that project finance in place is the challenge. And so our ability, the fact that we're as far down the track as we are, it sends a strong message. The amount of rigor that goes into the due diligence on behalf of project finance banks is significant. It will send a strong message to the broader marketplace, and we're really excited about it. But it's been a very busy 2019, and it started off to be a very busy 2020.
Definitely, that is for sure. As we see lovely Guatemala here on the back, I think. Question, what is going on in the country? I mean, we saw Chile, Ecuador, Brazil, Argentina, maybe not the easy way last year in the jurisdiction. So what's Guatemala doing?
Pretty plain vanilla, or as we say in Spanish, muy tranquilo. It's, I think that it's actually a good takeaway. I think, some of the noise we've saw at places like Chile, for example, were quite surprising. But no, I mean, Guatemala has been very stable. Of course, we did go through an election last year, and in fact, the new government took up their posting last week. And so President Giamatti took up the role along with his cabinet on Tuesday last week. He campaigned on a very strong sort of forward campaign around foreign investment, investing in the economy, focusing on opportunities for jobs, for Guatemala.
And Texas, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's right. I mean, but if the people are working and they're working in Guatemala, then they're paying taxes, and it's part of that whole sort of cycle. So no, I mean, we've been really pleased just in the first sort of 5 or 6 days. They've undertaken some changes since they've got in, and it looks very positive from that perspective. And don't forget as well that Guatemala's economy has had the strongest currency, really the most stable currency the last 10 years in all of Latin America. The 10-year government bond rate, in fact, is about 30% less or lower than what you would find in Brazil or even Mexico. And so from an economic perspective, there's a lot of investment that's gone in. The economy is very stable. We think we're at the right place at the right time. And, of course, the geology is terrific in that country.
Absolutely. Great. It was a great final sentence. Thank you very much. And wish you all the best, and hope that we hear then very soon that the debt is organized, and I would think the equity follows.
Watch this space. Thanks very much.
Super. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Darren Klinck, the CEO of Bluestone Resources, and you heard it, full on track with the plan to bring their mine in Guatemala into production. Last year was a great year exploration-wise, of course. They raised by 18% measured and indicated resources. They did a great job, and as he said, they found over 5 sets of new veins, which is fantastic, of course, which was even not planned. But this helps all a lot, and as he said, Mother Nature was very friendly to them, and I think it's in the future also it will move on like this. So bring the debt on, do the equity, start construction, start mining. I think that's a great game plan. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Vancouver.